Hello, welcome to Mr. B's Ukulele channel. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy watching. This is the tutorial video for Fly Me to the Moon. Now there's a lot of tricky stuff in this one. It's one of my level 6 pieces, but actually when you break it down there's nothing too demanding. It's not like, for example, the Bare Necessities, where personally I found that B flat all the way through really made your fingers ache and took a lot of getting used to and a lot of practice. This one is just complicated due to the number of new chords that they're introducing. There's a lot of sevenths, a lot of minor sevenths, some of which we've not done before. A lot of subtle chord changes and quite fast chord changes that you need to get your fingers around, but nothing really too difficult. So I think it's one that is very playable and a lovely one to sing as well once you get your head around it. Okay, we're going to look at those chords first of all. There's a lot of new chords in there, like I say, and we'll look at some of those chord transitions as well and how to do those. We'll then look at the strumming pattern, and there are two strumming patterns. There's these down, down, up, up, down, up, and also a down, down, up in a few places, and we'll look at where they both fit together. Then I'll go through the layout of the song and do a bit of a demonstration of part of it as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the chords, and I'll just go through the introduction in the first verse and you'll see the chord selections that we have, and then I'll go through some of those chords in a little bit more detail. So it starts off on a D minor, which we know, D minor, and then a G7, again not new to us, then a C major 7. Now C major 7 might be new to you, that's like a C but it's just on the 2nd fret, so nothing too tricky about that. Just do that again, D minor, G7, C major 7 to an A7, shouldn't be new, D minor again, and then G7 and C. So that's the introduction. Now the first verse, A minor, fly me to the D minor, moon, let me, G7, play among the, now here we get a bit tricky again, C major 7 and C7, let me play among the stars. F, let me see what D minor, spring is like on, and then an E minor 7, which we might not have looked at before. There it is. Basically imagine an E7 and take the top finger off and it becomes an E minor 7, so those two fingers don't need to change. E7 changed to an E minor 7. On Jupiter, and then an A minor 7, Mars, and an A7, and then D minor, in other words, G7, hold my E minor 7 again, and followed by the A7, in other words, D minor, G7, baby kiss me, C major 7, and the E7 on the end. That's the E7 on the end, not the E minor 7. So there's a lot of subtle chord changes, like I say. So let's just look at some of those tricky transitions, and you probably heard there straight away where the strumming pattern changes as well, and I'll come back to that in a moment. So on the second line of the song we've got the G7, let me play among the, then we've got the C major 7, stars. So there we go from the G7 to the C major 7 to the C7. Now for that one, on the G7 you've got your 3rd finger already on the 2nd fret, so you just take the top 2 off, and then you can either slide it down for the C7 into the 1st fret, or you can just add your 1st finger instead. So you can either do that, or you can do that and swap it. G7, C major 7, C7. And then on the 4th line, on Jupiter, and you got the E minor 7 there, Jupiter and Mars, and that goes to an A minor 7 where you lift the whole of all your fingers off, completely empty fretboard, Jupiter and Mars, followed by an A7 where you just put your 1st finger on there. Now the trick there is to make sure that when you let go of the ukulele you don't drop it, because you don't want to do that in the middle of the song. Now the way I do that is on the normally when I play I have my thumb on the back, and then I sort of, my fingers are free here, and I just pin it under my elbow on my right arm, so that it's sort of really just resting on and off on this hand, but not really resting all the time, depending on what my chords are doing. So during that line there, on the E minor 7, I just bring my hand up to take the weight of the neck, so that then as soon as I go to the A minor 7 I can just lift my fingers off. So basically just, And the key there is just, like I say, lift your hand up so that it's resting on your finger, so you can take your fingers all the way. And then you go into the A minor 7 and the A7, and that's relatively straightforward. Okay, the chords are pretty much those chords all the way through, just in a few different variations. So let's have a look at the strumming patterns now. Now you'll see on the strumming patterns there are two different patterns. We've got starts on the D minor with the, and we get that for most of the well, for the introduction and most of each verse. But then in the middle of each verse we've just got a slight change just onto the down, down, up. And if you look at the sheet music, I've marked those chords in red, so you can see very clearly when you need to make that transition. So like I say, it's predominantly all the way through down, down, up, down, up, except for the red chords marked which are down, down, up. So just have a good look at those, make sure you're sort of mentally aware that you're going to make the changes to the down, down, up strumming pattern for those chords, and it's relatively easy to put it in. It's not the end of the world if you don't, but it's the song won't flow quite the same way without it. It just slightly alters the rhythm, allowing you to fit the words in correctly. Okay, so the layout is relatively simple. You've got a nice little introduction. Not that fast, but it's a nice little introduction. Then we've got basically 4 verses. We sing 3 of them, but the third verse is just an instrumental. I'm going to play that through for you now, and then I'll just talk a little bit about the ending. So a quick demo on the third verse on the instrumental verse for you. And I'm going to hum the melody line just so you can hear how it fits together. So that's your instrumental verse, and you could hear a bit of the melody line on top of that. So all your verses follow that pattern. And then we get to the ending. And the only tricky bit here is it just repeats the last couple of lines and it goes very high with the vocals. Let me sing it to you and then I'll talk about how we can do that. All I worship and adore, in other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Now, 2 things there. First of all, you can sing it down the octave. It sounds a bit muddier, it's a bit lower so the sound doesn't carry as strongly, so just make sure you play a bit fainter on the ukulele to allow that to come through. So you can sing it down. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. If you're struggling with the high pitch, that is an option. But the main point is to be aware of the slaps at the end. We just have 3 on the final line. In other words, I love you. And we sing from the second slap. In other words, slap, I love you. Okay, and there we go. That's a slight different ending to Frank Sinatra's original. If you have a listen, he really beefs it up. I love you. Bum, bum, bum. And you get the band in the background doing those final chords. Bit harder to do that on the ukulele, so I've just gone for a simplified ending there. I hope you enjoyed the song. It's a wonderful, classic 1960s pop song, so do have fun with that and enjoy.